platform.
Holla folks, what's going on in the hood? How's everybody doing? Kanal here, Bulls on Wall Street. Hope everybody's having a wonderful, wonderful day and ready to get to work. Man, amazing trading market we are in. As you know, this last few weeks were really before this past week. It was a dud. The market's in a grind. It was like, you were just kind of you were really farting around for plays. Now that the volatility is back, the monster's back, and it's awesome. I mean, it's awesome. We're seeing just amazing follow through on plays, and you're seeing all of this type of just really amazing action where you get some of these stocks and they flush at the open and they flag, and then next thing you know they pop. They always have the midday pop, then they crush into the close, and you're just getting this really, really good, clean trading action. And that's what you really want to see. You want to see the volatility. You want to see that type of action. I think it's good. It's healthy. It's fun. That's what we need. Now we are on the S&P. We're starting to get to some oversold levels. The market tends to overshoot all these moving averages and stuff like that. But it looks like we got kind of a date with this 200-day moving average somewhere in this area. But we're getting oversold. We're getting to that bounce point. So, things are coming, and the bounce will be fun too. Probably not as fun as what we're seeing right now, but, good times around the corner. The one awesome thing that's been happening since this bull market has ever started, way back into 2009 is that, the dips come in fast and then they come in harsh, but they don't ever really last long. You're getting the market flushes happen over the course of a week or two, and then you get these big rips, and so our corrections are short-lived. And so if you're struggling or you're like, man, this market's just whooping my butt, just remember that the easy times are coming about. That's how this market's always worked. Things get nasty and you flush, and then boom, it's off to the races again. So let's take a little look at the watch list and go from there. I'm watching this AMBA for potential bounce here. This is the type of play I'd only play with, a rip in the market. Otherwise, it stocks up a lot over the last, few months. It won't go unless the market goes. BABA, same type of thing. You're getting these, you're at an inflection point. You get your 50-day moving average rising. You got this trend line. The key is you can't chase this stock on strength. You can see like a stock like this, if it gaps up like this and you try to buy it too high, it's just going to fade off. Typically these higher float type of stocks, they tend to, they move off supports and stuff like that. So just something to kind of keep an eye on. I'm watching some of these oil names. We don't have the exact setup yet in terms of what we'll need to see, but obviously, ideally, you get some type of reversal, maybe even a gap up, and then those first few dips, they start to hold and you start to trend. That's when you kind of know that you've got something that's a potential runner. We shorted this Kala today in the chat room. We had a pretty good trade on it. We're looking for, all pops in this thing to short it. If not, if we see some intraday type of breakdown action, we'll look to short also. CXI, after this huge monstrous fader, you kind of had its relief bounce yesterday. If we get another bounce in this thing, and it pops up to $758, it will give us a great short opportunity. CSIQ, actually one of my students had sent this to me yesterday. I would have ideally, it would have been nicer if I was a swing trader to get this earlier. But as a day trader, you're kind of right back at this trend line. You can see with, the TAN ETF, it's near breakdown level 2 here. Tap. We're right at that sweet spot. So, the CSIQ can go. CYBR is just holding support here at the 50-day moving average. We're just coiling up. It needs cooperation from the market. Same thing with this EYES. It's shaking out its early IPO run, and it's just flattening out here. I got Fro on watch. Ideally we get a big sharp move at the open, and this will be on watch for potential shorts. Usually when you get 3 days of gaps like this, if you get another day and this sucker gaps up, I mean, that's a telltale sign that things are going to things are about to end for this one. Still watching this HCSH. We played this today multiple times. We bought this in the chat room at 484. Then we rebought some at 5. We were playing it back and forth. We had a pretty good day in trading it. This is our trading platform over here. We have about $1,500 trading this thing. Kala, these type of days, you stick and move your day. You can't get too greedy. So, I make sure, like, if I have a loss, like, I was trading this EMS, even when I was down $50, like, I was like, oh shit, I got to get out of this thing. It's just not working for me. So on and so forth. So really move fast, and cut your losses quick if you're on the wrong side of the trade. If this thing gaps up or has a strong run again, I'll look to short it. If it opens up weak, we'll probably get some potential longs in this potentially. Then I got all these IPOs on my watch list. That's LC, Momo, Newer. No setup in them just yet, but I like watching these IPOs to get a gauge of kind of where the spec money's flying. When the IPOs are running hot, you really get a lot of fun in the markets. Noah, this was the flat top breakout. One more down day, and you'll get it. Didn't stop at the 20, so one more down day, and you'll get back to this old support or old resistance level, and you have your 50-day moving average right under it. Orex is a pretty clean little setup over here. Just a nice little flag pattern. Look for a thrust over this area for potential go. Always remember to line up multiple time frames. RGLS, still watching this one. We'll see if it kind of holds at this 50-day moving average. It's just kind of dripping down. This is probably one of those things you'll need to run in the biotech sector and the market. SM is starting to kind of base out over here. So if we do see that inevitable pop in oil, and where it pops, who knows? It could be 3 weeks from now, 2 weeks from now. It could be tomorrow. It's just good to have and be prepared for the bounce because, the upside will be really furious. It just happens to be it's going to test your patience, and probably you're going to have to take a whole multitude of small losses before you get there. SRNE really making a move. We see another strong move in this thing tomorrow. I'll be looking to short this thing for a rubber band short. And I'm watching, some of these just ETFs for crude like UWTI. You're starting to see that capitulation type volume. You can't marry something like this. It's probably go to 0 at some point. It's a 3x, but you get really nice wicked snapbacks in this. Something like this you could see $2 candle, $3 candle when you finally get the snapback. So that's it for now, guys. Let me know if you have any questions. For those of you guys that are new, I'm on screen share all day with our Bulls Vision. I'll have my trading platform up. I'll have my charts up. I'm going through all of this stuff during the day. And, you're literally watching me trade live. It's pretty cool. And it's a great way to learn and stuff like that because you're going to see how I'm actually moving in and out of my positions and scaling in and doing this stuff. A great tool for traders. Let me know if you guys need anything. And I will see everybody tomorrow. Take care and good luck.